Recording in progress.
Sorry.
Hey there. We got you?
Got me.
All right. Thank you so much.
You hear everything all right?
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah. All good.
All right. Well, I'm going to let this song play off the CD and then connect back to the computer so we'll be live if that sounds good to you.
Sounds good to me. Are we airing? Are you doing the Zoom anywhere that I can share it, or is it just?
I don't know how to air a Zoom live, but I'm recording it so we can do it later. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to ask you if that was good by you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll post it later.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm again disappointed that I can't really have my background look the way that usually we have similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
This is actually the studio moved this weekend. Is the first time. This is the first time I've been in here.
Oh wow.
But I do have a little bit of stuff out, and
Yeah, cool.
but one of these days I'll be back up to speed.
I know you will. I know you will.
And thank you for all your fun and inspiration in doing this.
Good job, man.
And let's see, we got.
No cussing.
What's that?
You gotta remember, no cussing.
No, yeah, I know it's hard.
It is. The internet has spoiled us.
It did, yeah. The other thing is that, especially for poetical, not stupid people like us, it gives us a chance to be more creative to express what we might want to express.
Well, that's true. That's a good way of looking at it.
But sometimes it happens. It ain't the end of the world. If you drop an F-bomb, it ain't the end of the world.
Yeah, right. I know.
All right. Well, this is about 40 seconds left, so I'm gonna connect the audio, and the next time I talk to you, we'll be live. Sound good?
Okay, great.
Thanks a lot. All righty, yee-haw! Hello. Oh, all righty, yee-haw! All right, we got let's see the call back, and I believe Kevin's still there. That was all right. Let me just tell him what they heard. And there was an intro from a live disc. Let's see. The first one was Shinyribs' beautiful song for our women. The women, as I've heard Mr. Kervin Russell say, and I'll let him say what's about that for the women that in our lives that enriching and probably maybe put up with our stuff a little bit.
Yeah, because pretty much every woman is a working woman.
And money don't got to have anything to do with it. I agree with you, man.
That's what my mama would tell you.
Well, your mama knows things, and that's why you came up good, ain't it? And they also heard Felix y los Gatos Nueva Mexico, because that is the band that's going to be on the bandstand probably before Shinyribs this Thursday, correct?
That's right. Yeah, they played with us last time. They're really great.
Yeah, that's a good pairing. It's a good pairing. And the last song that I need to tell about was that was David Tum Band live, an intro, and Blue Ridge Cabin Home. And David Tum is also known as Uncle DT, who's going to be making sure when Shinyribs are in town, they get some good barbecue.
That's right.
Not to mention hear some good music like you just did from him. And and with that, welcome Kevin Shinyribs Russell.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Thank you. And I'm good to have you. I'm going to get the fanboy stuff out of the way to say that I really just appreciate this, and I have had some wonderful guests. You're joining over these last 7 years of me doing Metaphysical Biscuit in its various incarnations. A lot of local talent and the likes of Kirk Ellis, who is currently in Europe doing the Ben Franklin series, who wrote and produced the John Adams miniseries for HBO. Wow. Same last name, call each other cousin, Danny Rubin, who wrote Groundhog Day. And musicians, in particular Al Shackman, who in Nina Simone's own words was his best friend, musical director and guitar companies for 40 years. So, wow. but you are the first international caliber, wonderful artist that doesn't live in New Mexico that I've had.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Beyond name dropping, that was my point. And I just want to say that, you know, I put together that back in the day with my mostly electronic music friends, we used to listen to your Gord's album and cover of that particular song that I already told him about.
All right.
But I mentioned Techno Heads because we used to listen to it over and over. And what I feel like that song represents still, in my mind, is it stops and you want to hear it again because you feel good hearing your take on it.
Right.
You did such, And I feel like your music, as now Shinyribs, has a similar, you know, that feelgoodery.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I learned. I mean, I always was trying to make feel good music, especially when I play live. You know, and mostly that's been my bread and butter my whole life is my live stuff. So, yeah, but it's just about feeling good, and that is definitely a feel good song.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the original is great, but your take just has. Yeah. And one thing I did want to ask you about that or mention and ask is first of all, I remember back in the day, what was that, early zeros?
Yeah, when we did that, I was like 95, 96.
Oh wow! Yeah,
That's when we started playing it. Well, we probably recorded it, you know, a little later in the 90s. I don't remember exactly when we recorded it. It might have been 97.
That's all right. No need to do math. What I was going to say is am I going to remember? Oh, I recall it erroneously being attributed to either Fish or Blues Traveler back in the day, and I never believed Fish. That just wasn't right. Yeah, that makes no sense.
I mean, either one of those bands, if you listen to them at all, you would know that's not them. But
right,
you know, there was a time period there where people were hearing about those bands, but they couldn't necessarily hear them. You know, because it wasn't easy to find their music either.
Right.
So unless you really were part of the Fish community or the widespread community or whatever, you're maybe not going to have heard that music. So somebody tells you that's Fish, then you believe it because you don't know any better. And peer to peer, that whole thing. That was all notoriously mislabeled all the time because what you could call your file whatever you wanted to call it, and that's the way it would come up. So that's why that happened, because people didn't know what the hell they had in their files, or they mislabeled them, or they had a comp that it was all Fish, but it was all the different music related to Fish in their files. You know, people didn't understand that and didn't really think it was important. So.
Might have been important to you.
Well, that's what, you know, the first time I ever heard it was Napster. I didn't know what the hell Napster was. And I'd just gotten a computer. Like, I went as long as I could without getting any kind of computer. And I had just gotten a computer, and then people started messaging me on some of the listservs, you know, we were on, and telling me that there's this thing called Napster, and our version of Gin and Juice is under Fish, and it's like hugely downloaded song. So I called Napster on the phone, of course. I got their phone number. And
That's good.
I talked to them. It was like two dudes sitting in somewhere in San Francisco.
Right.
And they told, and I was like, so this is. I said, so what's going on with that? And they're like, oh man, see, we're not a content provider. We're a indexing service. That was their whole rap. And I said, okay, so that's somebody's files that are showing up in this gizmo you got going. And they're like, yeah. I said, so I could put the entire catalog of Leonard Skinner under my name? And they're like, yeah. I said, don't you think that's stupid? And they're like, maybe. They didn't really care.
We don't care.
Like, okay, obviously you guys don't care. So
we'll probably go to
try not to cuss. See, this is the moment I have to try not to cuss, Stephen.
if you want to hit mute for a minute, you know.
So I said a few choice words, and that was about it. And then I realized, that to me, like right then, the music industry changed. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And this is gonna be bad. And it was bad. It shrank the music business in a dramatic way by something like, I don't know, 30-40%. The entire music industry shrank from the late 90s through the early 2000s. It's really quick, and it was violent, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So it was really super disruptive. But everything starts with music. Music's always the first frontier for all these technological changes we go through. So be paying attention to what's going on with music right now and the way it's being distributed. So it's a
great point.
Yeah, it's really true.
Yeah, well, and not to mention, music is the universal language.
Yeah,
and everybody speaks it in their own way. I mean,
right.
That Playing for a Change outfit that they get
sure.
There's a guy who, it was the Beatles. It was one of the Beatles ones, and an African musician. He hadn't heard of the Beatles from some country where,
that's cool.
And the other one, you may know this, but when they started connecting us to why bands like Tina Warren sound like Southern Delta blues,
right? Yeah,
you know why, right? Why?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because they came.
Cool.
Yeah, because they came from the same place.
Yeah.
But I was also gonna see what pontificate out loud. That music, or give the example too. I lived in Chile. Victor Jara, they cut his arm off, but he didn't stop playing music.
Right.
So they can't stop us.
I've wondered to myself sometimes, like if I lost a limb or something, what would I do? And I immediately start thinking of ideas. How could I make noise? How could I make music?
Yeah. What have you come up with? You have a plan, backup plan?
I mean, it would probably involve cardboard boxes and rubber bands, like my childhood days.
That sounds like my house. Wait a minute. Yeah. Well, they can't stop it. You could, even if you didn't have either hand,
That's right.
you could still push the buttons or talk to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would make art of somehow. Who knows what I would do. I have a friend who became quadriplegic in an accident, and he learned to paint with his mouth. He's an incredible artist now.
Is that right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of artists that do that. So
Yeah.
there's always, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. And not to mention, a little adversity can push us.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. I love that we're doing this by Zoom so that I don't have to say what I'm saying as a question. I could just give you a little Jewish and you answer. We can see each other. And I will say here now that Kaevin, before I even asked for permission, he wanted to know if I'm recording this. So this Zoom session will be available, which makes me feel good. I've apologized in the Patreon and Zoom because I moved in January. One of the first things I noticed in the quarantines of seeing your live streams is how very similar stylistically, not music, I keep music to myself, but decoratively, you and I tend to be. For one thing, the hat makes the person, right?
That's true. Very true.
I have to have on headphones, so I can't pretend. I have hats. As a matter of fact, look at it. Here, check this one out.
Yeah.
Here's one to show you, because this is you will be the second. Can you see who that is? You can't, right?
I can't read it.
That's okay. I'll tell you. So you're going to be the second live show that I've gone to that I don't have anything to do with since quarantines. I've been on stage, as you know, but the first is a Todd Snyder hat, who I saw a few weeks ago in Albuquerque.
Cool.
The Rev. So let them know what's going down on Thursday.
Well, it'll be our first time back in Santa Fe at that plaza down there.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-show, the full band, so it's a 9-piece band. You got the Shiny Soul Sisters, a couple of great singers with me, and then you got the Tijuana Trainwreck Horns, great horn section. And then the Ribonucleus Band, as I call them. You got a pedal steel player, Marty Muse, Keith Langford on the drums, a fellow named Mason Handcammer on the bass, and Jay Styles on the keyboards. So it's a big sound, big band, something for everyone. And then myself playing ukulele, dancing. I'm the world's oldest living male exotic dancer. So it's something you really have to see for yourself.
Now, are there any
Believe your eyes.
are any of the clothing going to come off? Maybe if you start with one of your famous gowns or something. One of the things on Austin City Limits, other places that you can see some great clips of Kaevin with these amazing gowns. Where do you get those things?
Oh, the luminous cloak? Is that
Yeah.
It's a local place called Austin Bright Light Design, and they make all kinds of stuff now. That was their first one, and it was a whole full cloak. The shop right now, it's got some issues, but trying to get it fixed. But now they do vests, I think, and like smaller garments, and maybe some other things. But yeah, Austin Bright Light Design.
We can't talk about prices, although we're not talking about them. But I was going to joke, should I get I don't have any jobs at the moment necessarily, but should I get a few jobs in order to save up to buy one of those? But if they have things smaller than cloaks, maybe.
I think they have smaller things. Yeah, I haven't looked at their website in a while, but I'm sure they have expanded their inventory.
Good, it's stylish. The other thing, speaking of a question I had thought of was about different things that wondering. You said you play ukulele very well. Sometimes you have a 6-string, and it looks like you have very nice wooden ones. Are those made for you at this point?
No, I buy them from different places. This one on the back, that's my favorite, my top ukulele.
Oh yeah.
So it's Kinile is the maker of it. It's an 8-string ukulele.
8-string.
Yeah, and
wow.
I've never had anything custom made. I've never gone that route. I think I'm kind of a tightwad.
You're doing fine with what you got, and folks, he's.
I think I'm pretty good, but like I don't think I'm that good. Like I don't need that kind of. But yeah, the 8-string thing is like you have
You're showing it to us.
Yeah, 2 of them. They're still the same course, 4 courses like every ukulele. C, G, E, A. But the top, the C and the C and the G, there are paired octave, and then the 2 bottom ones, the E and the A, are paired unison. Yeah, so that's what makes it an 8-string. It's kind of like almost like a mandolin in a way.
I was gonna say, is it a little different to play? Can you hit anything for us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a real full sound, Yeah, it's a great sound.
It is a great sound.
I used to play a 6-string, which was just two of the strings were paired unison and octave, and there were 2 individuals. That's what made it a 6. But gosh, the only thing I could think of better than a 6-string ukulele was an 8-string ukulele. So
is that common?
I got it. This is it.
Yeah.
8-string now, but and there is a 10-string steel string ukulele called a T-play, and I have one of those. It's put away somewhere right now, but they're really cool sounding. They're really hard to keep in tune, but they're steel strings as opposed to nylon strings. And 10 freaking strings on it. It's a tuning nightmare.
I bet. I was gonna say, are these with the extra strings? Does it make it a little harder to get used to playing it?
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, the sound is cool, and it's a cool instrument.
Yeah, it gives it a fuller. It's not just novelty. Oh, yeah. Speaking of novelty.
Yeah, there's a T. I play some T-play on my new record, which is, I don't know when it's coming out, but there's a song on there that I put T-play on. And I've written a lot of things with T-play, but like I said, it's hard to keep it in tune. So they're all those songs kind of sound funky.
That's all right. We like
funky in a good way. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
You're good funky. That's what Shinyribs is about.
In a good way.
You could probably make this guy sound good. Look.
Yes. Hey, that's a festive one.
Yeah, it's not really real. I do have a real one somewhere. Anyways, you mentioned your new album. I think you had said, and you either this year or next year. You're working on it now.
Yeah, yeah. We recorded it in February, um, here in Austin, and we're mixing it right now.
Is that right?
Yeah, so should be finished with mixes, in the next couple of weeks, and so we'll send it off to get mastered and finished up, and then I gotta maybe shop it around. I was thinking about trying to find a record deal for this one. The last few I've done just released by myself, but this is I think this is a special record. I really want people to hear it.
Yeah.
More than I want to sell it, so much. The idea of self-releasing is just based on economics. It's when I did the numbers and figured it out, I was like, I'll make more money releasing it myself. Really,
Yeah.
not as many people will hear it, but I will make more money, right?
And freedom of control.
And freedom of control, and but this one is not so much an economics question for me, because it's aesthetically. It's just a special record. The songs are special. The performances are really incredible. The sounds are amazing. It's a really great team we put together for this one, and so I just want it to be heard more than anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I was thinking I'm looking for a record deal, and I have some good interest from some good labels right now. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it Transit Damage. That would be there's a song on there, so it'd be a title track.
Yeah, I saw you. We interacted on a post about traffic in Austin. Is that connected?
No,
No.
this is about at this point in my life, like
Oh,
I have
okay.
been damaged in transit, like most of us have.
Right. What about Oh Boy Records? Would they have?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't think about them.
Yeah.
We should hit them up.
I would think.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. We're just now. We want to get it finished, and then we're sending a few mixes around right now. But
If it helps, you can tell them that I could probably spend at least a day speaking only in John Prine lyrics.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll tell them that. If it helps at all, let's get a record deal. My friend,
It couldn't hurt, right?
John Prine lyrics, I read all day long.
Yeah, I tell yeah.
If you like, we'd send him to spend the day in your office.
I will sit there. I won't even have to ask for anything to eat. If it helps you. Yeah, but I mean, the one thing I'll say about Oh Boy, and then we'll talk about other stuff, is they generally seem to have singer-songwriters, so it might be cool to have an outfit, but it ain't. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just definitely a songwriter record. It's the songs were what it was all built around. So
Right.
that's not always the case. Sometimes the band and the performances are more important than the songs for me. But this has it all. I mean, really, it's always when I record, I'm trying to get the best song and the best performance to meet. That's to me. There's all great songs in the history of recorded music. Some of my favorite stuff. It's like you either have great songs or you have great performances, and then every now and then you have a great song and a great performance that come together to create something really,
Really great.
something really great, like Frankenstein by Edgar Winters.
There you go. There you go. Well, I call the extra great things the things that should go in the capsule.
We got on a kick last night on the way home. We played this fundraiser out in the hill country here. Anyway, I won't go into all that, but
Something happened.
no, nothing really happened.
The guy with the pitchfork, or what?
But we had fun. It was a smaller band. It was just me and Mason on upright and Jay, and then Alice and our other singer Kelly. So it was a small group of us. But on the way home, I don't know why. I heard this Kansas song recently. It's called "Play the Game Tonight" or something. Do you remember that song? It's terrible. It's so bad, but it's so bad it's good. Like I forgot about it when I heard it on the radio. So I
Mhm.
played it. I played it for everybody. So y'all just got it. Just I want to share this with you. And that led us down a whole
Yeah.
terrifying classic rock rabbit hole on the way home last night.
I
We had a great time though.
was
Talking.
getting well. That's a good segue into one of the questions in my notes or a little head here was well, for example, when y'all did, because you can find those live clips of the Gourds and some of Shinyribs doing the gin and juice cover, but then you go into all kinds of other stuff. And I
Yeah.
was wondering, and I love those. There's some,
Yeah.
again, back to the similarities. And by the way, I saw you wear a Star Wars shirt and something. You see my shirt, my
I see.
Rebels.
I thought
Yeah, yeah.
not noticed you, sir. It's very cool.
I mean, I tend to wear it often anyway.
Yeah.
But so when you do that kind of stuff, is it planned what you're going to go into? There was one where you played stuff that is very possible I could play every week, like you do the band and anyway, I was wondering.
Yeah. There was, it's when it happens the first 2 or 3 times, it's not planned. Like, so anything can come up on any given night, but once you find some that you like, then you tend to do them over and over because they worked, and you're like, wow, that really worked well. I do the same thing with my song "Take Me Like Charles." I go
Right.
into a huge medley, and it's a lot of fun, and it'll be the same for a month or two, and then there'll be one night where else will pop in my head, and the band. It's really more for the band than anything, like to give them throw them a curveball.
I was
See,
gonna say, does that mean they really got to pay attention, right?
oh yeah, they're paying attention, and sometimes they don't know, like they may not know the song because we're from all different genres, all of us, and there's different. We have younger people in the band too, so there's different age groups, who don't know some of the old stuff, and we don't know some of the new stuff.
Right.
Sometimes the band knows, and sometimes they don't. It's funny what they all tend to know, though. It's always surprising to me. Like Fog Hat Slow Ride,
Yeah.
Although my steel player Marty, he didn't know that song, but I said, well, could you listen to it and learn the solo, the that whole bit.
Right. Yeah.
So he learned it, and the other
He did
night
it?
at Green Hall, I turned around and pointed to him right at the moment, and he played that solo.
He did
My
it?
bass player played along with that bass harmony of it. It was super cool, man.
Well, it must be a treat for a guitarist to get to do an epic '70s guitar solo, right?
Oh yeah, I think Marty probably really likes playing with us because we play all different genres, all kinds of things that he's steel guitar players generally get stuck in country, not stuck, but they get in country bands and they and they play a lot of country music, which is great. I love country music, but they are a lot of them are great musicians like Marty. He's a jazz guy really, and his ultimate style is he's a brilliant musician, and he likes to play all styles of music. So I think for him it's a lot of fun playing with this band. Yeah.
That was the other thing was I remember there's still YouTube clips they call y'all's gin and juice country gin and juice.
Well, I mean, for lack of a better word, that's what it was. It was mandolin driven, and that was my intention with it. Really my intention was just to cross genres. Like no one had done that yet, and I was like, well, somebody's going to do this. Eventually, I knew music was going to become like genres mixed. It's going to be hip hop and country are going to mix, and it's probably going to be awful. So I said, if I can beat them to it, I can make it good.
Right.
That was my intention. Just try and save country music, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you played your part.
I did what I could.
It might pretend to be called Americana now, but it has been saved.
That's true.
I didn't keep track of the name of your steel guitar, Blake, but have you ever given him a chance to do a Gilmore solo, a Pink Floyd?
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
There you go. What would you pick?
I would like to pick Us and Them, but I heard the Mavericks do that one night, and it was such a great cover. So I was like, I don't know. Now, see, it's funny. Like once you hear another band do a cover, it feels and somehow unethical to cover it. You're friends with them, you know them. I don't know why that is, but that's kind of how it feels. Like they already covered it. I'm not going to cover that. But,
Right.
So I don't know. Like I don't know what would it be. It would
Brain Damage and Eclipse.
Yeah. I have done that. I have on the ukulele.
Yeah,
I used to do a version of that.
I actually tried to do that on the ukulele.
It worked pretty well.
I karaoke it.
I gotta see that.
Oh, you know what I saw on YouTube? There's a karaoke of y'all's version of Gin and Juice. Did you know that?
Oh, really? Yeah. There should be. Yeah.
I was too tired. I was like, it was real late last night. I just remembered this. Obviously, I was already, 19 sheets to trying to go to bed early so I could be ready for this. But I was like, I'm going to record myself doing that. So I will. I'm glad I remembered. Okay. Unless you don't want me to.
No, I got to see that. I gotta see that.
Not now.
I always try to think of what would be a great karaoke song. I did the record of Edmund Fitzgerald once at a karaoke.
Oh, good one. That's a good. I've done that, and I've played that by request on the show too.
Yeah, that'll kill a karaoke party quick.
Well,
this never gives up. It was like 15 minutes long,
You did the whole thing?
Yeah, I did the whole thing. We were thinking what we could too is Living for the City, Stevie Wonder, because it goes in that whole like crowd noise thing, and you just be standing around and talking to imaginary people during your karaoke performance. It could be pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you're good at engaging the crowd. Back to Pink Floyd real quick. I was just thinking. I think it's another Brick in the Wall Part 2, but where they actually get funky, that could be a great one for Shinyribs.
Yeah. I occasionally will go into a bit of that during. I don't know if I can say BITCH on the air, can I?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. Okay. What you just did.
What we do that.
Female dog.
We do that Rihanna song.
Yeah.
Female dog better have my money. And I go occasionally I'll go into another Brick in the Wall during that. But some of the band has been grumbling. I don't think they like it. So
they don't.
We might have some Pink Floyd haters in the band. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask around, sort of find out who it is and get rid of them.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good reason to hit the road, Jack. Give him a Ray Charles CD and get out of there.
They ought to start playing Pink Floyd in the bus all the time. See who cracks.
Yeah, let me know. Get some footage.
Mother, do you think they'll drop the bomb?
Mother, do you think they'll like the song? Mother, should Kaevin run for president? Yes.
Oh, no, you wouldn't want me to be president.
Well, more than any of these other people.
Well, okay, that's a good point.
I don't want you to be president because I don't want you to have to get up early.
Exactly. At the crack of dawn, it's crazy.
Forget it. No.
That'd be funny if you had a president who slept all day, stayed up.
I think we have. I think one of them had R and R as his names. Take a nap, Ronnie.
Take a nap.
Have some jelly beans.
Have some jelly beans, exactly.
Well, we're getting to the top of the hour, which means I'll do the station ID, and this is going to be putting you on the spot. But if after you hear me do it, it's very simple. If you might be able to do it while I'm recording it, we would appreciate that. At the top of every hour, we within 3 minutes. If not, that's okay. But we're getting there. But I'm going to let the listeners remind them this is Metaphysical Biscuits Sunday Fun Day, Domingo Chico, en el ritmo de los tres. And no, that's not that I'm asking you to say.
I was like, all right, it's a tongue twister.
No. That's the short name of my show, Metaphysical Biscuit. And
I like the name of the show.
Thank you. I thought you might. And this is Disc Jockey Jules here with Kervin Shinyribs Russell, and we're going to carry on talking for as long as this generous man has. And we're approaching 4 o'clock here on this 5th of June, as I say, in the year 2022 of someone's Lord. And June 5th, I keep saying I wasn't going to talk about it. It's Kenny G's birthday. It's my brother's birthday.
It's my sister-in-law's birthday, too.
It's your sister-in-law's birthday, and it's my cat, Stanley, the king. You met his birthday, they say.
Yeah.
That giant white cat you saw.
I remember that giant white cat, yeah.
Yeah. When I get your barbecue ready, I got to keep him away from it. So it's within 3 minutes at the top of the hour. So this is what it would be, Kevin. This is 96.9 FM, KMRD, LP, Madrid, New Mexico.
All right, 96.9 FM.
KMRD, LP.
KMRD. 96.9 FM, KMRD.
LP.
KMRD, LP. Wow, that's a lot.
Low. If you can, it's all right. As much as you can get, it'll be fine. I'll do it one more time. Let me get my DD. This is 96.9 FM, KMRD, LP, Madrid, New Mexico. And you're listening to the Metaphysical Biscuit with special guest Kervin Shinyribs Russell. And Disc Jockey Jules. You want to give it a shot? I can chat it to you.
Yes, hang on. Let me just write it down.
Oh, I was going to chat it to you. You got it?
Yeah, at KMRD.
LP. Here you go. Well, it's going to be in the chat in a minute. Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. I'm chatting it to you. If you want.
What's the motto?
I sent it. You got to chat if you can get it.
Oh, it's in my chat. Okay.
The LP is because we're a nonprofit. That's why we can't be cursing.
You're what?
Because we're a nonprofit, a low frequency.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's why we can't use our potty mouths. that female dog of the FCC.
Well, low frequency, they would allow the potty mouth, because it's
it was listening. Yeah, no, everybody's listening. All right, do you think you can give it a shot for us?
Yeah, let me give it a shot. All right. This is 96.9 FM, KMRD, LP, Madrid, New Mexico.
And that was Kervin Shinyribs Russell here on Metaphysical Biscuit.
I forgot. I just read it verbatim. So
that was my fault, but that's okay.
I can do another one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Another one. Hey, this is Shinyribs. You're listening to 96.9 FM, KMRD, LP, Madrid, New Mexico. Yodeling.
Woo, the yodeling. Well, y'all, this Thursday, you can see the depths and wealth and feel-goodery of Kaevin Russell's talents and all the folks. The feel-goodery. Thank you, Shannon Zelazny, for that term. We tuned in to the Kerrville last year, where Jamie Harris, who we hear a lot on the show, let us premiere some of her songs, was on, and you closed that show last year's, not the one that just happened. And
but Jamie was on this year too.
You were both on just the other night, right?
Jamie and Mary Gaucher and Jamie Harris were on right before us this year.
Also,
I guess, yeah, and it was last year too. I don't remember, but maybe last October, I think it was. Yeah,
it was later. Yeah. But you, Shannon Zelazny was watching and called it feel-goodery, and I say you got a few hundred, maybe not necessarily all of them, the most on-key people. I'm sure some are to do a beautiful dance train.
Oh yeah, it was always an epic conga line there at Kerrville.
Yeah,
it was great. It was
cool.
great. The funny thing about Kerrville, like they put the dancers in this little area, like at the main stage. It's all sit down, and they have a little area roped off on the side that I call disco jail, is what it is. They're in the disco jail. So my mission is always to try and break people out of disco jail.
I think of many things that I hope you're around for a lot longer that could go on your tombstone. There's one. or just on your record.
Yeah. Public enemy number one of disco jail.
Yeah. There you go.
The opposite of a citizen's arrest.
There you go. And then get public enemy's attention. Chuck D will be like Actually, before Todd Snyder, the last live thing I saw before the shutdown, the Santa Fe, who are they're pairing Shannon McNally in July with Terry Allen, who lives here, and Kurt Vile.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow.
But they got Chuck D and Rakim for a talk, and a local DJ spun with Rakim right before the shutdown.
Wow, dang!
So a 3-year break with live streams between those cats and Todd Snyder and now Shinyribs.
Yeah,
could be worse.
Could be worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have taken that as a deal if somebody had offered it to you way back when.
I might have. I certainly would have taken that over, say Kansas and and Lil Wayne or something. No offense.
Of course, none taken.
No, well, I meant to them, but
who cares about them?
Well, or to anybody who likes them. I don't. I forgot already. I think I said Kansas. I think I was like, who's on first? No, he's on second. I think I said Kansas and Lil Wayne, and I don't even know what Lil Wayne does.
Kansas and Lil Wayne. That would be a hell of a collaboration, wouldn't it? Kansas and Lil Wayne.
Kansas and Lil Wayne, if they're still alive, get to work.
If you are listening, if anybody from Kansas and Lil Wayne is listening,
yeah, we've challenged.
Me and Jules highly recommend a collaboration
with 8-string ukuleles and 10 turntables.
10 turntables and a microphone.
Well, Kevin, speaking of Brave New World, you mentioned the downside, and when you were talking about Napster, they got theirs, but a lot of it isn't necessarily negative, and you're
no. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously music being out there and not getting any pay is not cool. But I want to spin it positive, and you're a good, you have a lot of knowledge and experience in this. With what you did, you put an album out during quarantines, right?
Well, I recorded one. I didn't set out to record it, but I was just coming out here every day to the studio and recording. That's how I passed my time. To me, it was a really fun time. I mean, I was lucky to have the resources and the space and the ability to do that. So I certainly was grateful that I had the ability and the time and the wherewithal and the resources to do it. But yeah, so I that's what I passed my time. I'd come out here and work really for hours into the wee hour. I kept kind of a nocturnal sleep schedule during that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because why not? I was like, it's going to be indefinite amount of time, so I'm just going
to
I'm gonna become feral.
And you did?
And I did, and it eventually I ended up with a bunch of songs, and a lot of them I decided to put together and make a record out of it. And it's a little bit lo-fi, but because me out here doing the best I can, I don't really know. I'm not a music engineer at all, but I learned a lot, and I think with the help of some other friends remotely who helped me mix it and master it, get it basically polishing the turd, so to speak, it came out pretty good.
It did, and it's called
Late Night TV Gold is what it's called. Yeah.
Such a great title. Great title.
That's what it felt like to me. It felt like when I was a kid, staying up late at night watching TV, because I was all in front of a screen then too when I was a kid.
We're back.
Still in front of a screen.
Yeah.
So, but those were good times, and nothing wrong with that.
Well, I know you remember when they used to sign off with a song, didn't they?
Yeah. National anthem often, but in Louisiana, I always loved they would sign off with Elvis doing the American Trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The end is near. Yeah. So no, that's My Way, but he would do the American Trilogy.
It was in the land of cotton.
Land of cotton, and
away. What does he say?
Away, away, and hush, little baby, don't you cry. Yeah, glory, glory. Yeah, It was Mickey Newberry arranged that. It's a Mickey
Uh-huh.
Newberry arrangement. So Elvis's version, they would sign off with that, and it was all Louisiana, lakes and rivers and sun setting, and I'd get a little teary when I would watch that. It was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, especially when he sings that line about, your daddy's bound to die. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
Elvis, you're breaking my heart over here.
That's what he. That's what he did. He either broke the hearts or broke the ladies' hearts, right? If you heard that song, would you cry now? I'm not going to play
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
There's a few songs that make me cry. That one, not American Pie, but Vincent by Don McLean.
Yeah, I love that.
It's such a sad song to me. I don't know what it is. It's just so sad.
Well, Vincent. I mean, everything about Vincent Van Gogh is pretty sad.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the story and that the lyric of that. And there's something universal in it too in that song, I think.
I mean, I don't even think I wish upon an enemy to die broke, unknown, without an ear.
Right. Right.
Maybe a couple bad politicians or something.
And then, of course, that Kansas song, Play the Game. That makes me cry, but in a different way.
Well, we could go down that rabbit hole, but
We're not. I know I keep baiting you. You're not taking it, though.
well, next show. we have too much feel goodery to talk about.
Too much feelgoodery.
And the summer's just starting. It ain't too hot here. I'm sure it is where you are, but
It is. It's gotten hot early here, and
yeah.
not happy about it. But oh well.
And I think not to be a downer, by the time you're here Thursday, it's probably going to be hot. But
It's pretty good. It looks pretty good to us. I mean, relatively.
comparatively. Also, you're somewhere where it's humid, correct?
Yeah, it's humid. Yeah, they get that Gulf breeze coming in, and
Yeah.
if you get a high pressure thing over the Midwest, it traps that Gulf humidity in Texas, and it's just a big bubble of swamp. It's like a big swamp bubble.
I just remember, has anybody ever called either of us that? I just remembered, who do we blame for these weather patterns? Remember?
Uh,
Canada.
oh, Canada, right?
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada.
It's safe. Not to mention it's safe to blame Canada because they're also peaceful. They're not going to fight back anyway.
No, we have a Canadian in our band now. Our keyboard player, Jay Styles, is Canadian.
Well, he probably hates me now.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's great. I mean, it's always interesting to hear things about Canada, their culture that are different than America.
Do they ever get upset about anything?
I don't think they do. I mean, he was upset the other night. I won't go into the reason why, but he was upset about any of us. He had some personal stuff going on, and I said most upset I'd seen him. But even so, it was kind of, I was like, well, he doesn't seem that upset. I mean,
Not very impressively upset.
when I get upset, it's ugly. It's very
I don't want to see that.
No, nobody wants to see it. I
Oh, yeah.
always feel bad after I lose my temper, but.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes it's because I broke something, but even not, I just like, why? Well, these days I get so self-mad when I get worked up over something online.
Yeah.
I know. You're like fighting with somebody and you're just like, what? Go get a cookie, man. Come on, get an edible, get a gummy.
Yeah, relax. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. You're talking to somebody online.
You don't know who 99% chance would not say that bleep to you.
Right. Yeah.
There's some troll hiding in a basement.
Yeah, it's strange. It's been something we're all still learning how to deal with that. It's a new.
I'm not sure I had death threats other than in Baltimore before being online, but I have since.
Really? Now, I've never had a death threat.
Yeah.
Never had a death threat. It's on my bucket list for sure, but
it'd be real easy. I can tell you how to get it.
It's real easy.
It's really easy to get these people to give you.
Yeah, I don't go looking for trouble. I pretty much just stick on my social media, and the only political stuff I'll post is on my Twitter because it's Twitter, and I feel like it's just naturally political. But
Right.
So that's where I will post mostly Texas politics is what I post about,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of Texans aren't, they're not well read and they don't know what's going on in their own government, and it's hard to find out by
Yeah.
design, So I try and spread that information, to let people know like what's going on with your leaders, what are they doing. Some of the big stuff people know, like the abortion issue and border, the political stunts that the governor's pulling at the border. People know about that, but there's a lot of other weird little things going on. Like there's the eminent domain. This petroleum company just won a Texas Supreme Court case. It's gonna change. I mean, Texas is already an eminent domain. Disneyland for eminent domain, but if the oil and gas industry want it, they can have it. Which
Yeah.
it's not right. It's just not right. But people think that they create that a lot of jobs, and they do create a lot of jobs. And there's a lot of Texans who are very wealthy because of that, and that's fine. But you have to play fair, and you have to pay people fair value at least if you're going to claim that land. I just think it's and so these ranchers. I'm not going on my
No, please, 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 yeah.
so these ranchers, they're ranchers that these are conservative ranchers. They're landowners in Texas, and they're conservative people. So it's not political to them. It's just about their land and their private land. And so, and they apparently had made many deals over the years with oil and gas companies that they felt were fair pay for the use of that land. And this one company came along, didn't want to pay their price, took them to court, took an eminent domain, and won in the Texas Supreme Court. And it's just not a good thing, to give those companies, they can just run roughshod over landowners is not good.
It's not
And
good.
Texas is a private land state, so you'd think the voters would understand what's happening here. But that's the thing. I think a lot of especially conservative voters, they're like it's team sport to them, so they just keep voting for the same team because they feel like that's their best bet, just for their own self-interest. But eventually it's going to bite them in the booty.
Get that. Yeah. Yeah. Get that
Pay
derriere.
attention. You got
And
to
we're
pay
not,
attention. When one party controls everything, then that's when corruption happens. And the
yeah.
Republican Party has controlled Texas for freaking 40 years. So,
Ugh.
yeah. I
Well,
mean, there's a lot of corruption because there's nobody paying attention and nobody overseeing it. There's just no checks and balances going on.
boy, you need that.
I'll
Yeah.
get on my high horse now.
No, and everybody listening agrees with you.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you though, and then we can leave the politics. But y'all must have an election coming up. Is there a hopeful sense of some change coming? Willie Nelson's song, "If you don't like who's in there, vote him out." Is there?
Man, probably not. I mean, Texas is just it's a staunch. Mostly rural Texas is going to keep voting for the conservatives. So. And look, it's always been that way. Like even when the Democrats were in power, they were conservatives. They weren't progressive Democrats. Most of them, they were conservatives, and they had coalitions of progressives within the party. But so conservatives always controlled Texas. That's we still have that's our Pharaoh, so to speak. And we're going to have that same Pharaoh for a long time until something big will happen eventually. But I mean, it's going to take an overwhelming issue or. I just don't think the population is growing in a progressive way. And progressives who come to Texas, they go to the cities, and the cities are already vote Democrat. Right. So you need those people out in the rural areas to vote. Yeah. So and I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe it will because it's so expensive to live in the cities now. It is forcing urban people into the rural areas. So maybe it'll change. Eventually they say Texas is getting to be purple.
Is it? Well,
that's what they say, but I don't really see any proof of that. I don't feel like. I mean, Abbott's still a good 10 points ahead of O'Rourke in the governor's race. So
is that right?
I just don't think it's going to change. Now, I'm not expecting it. I'm not optimistic about it. So, but the main thing now is like it's a battle between the hard right and the moderate right in Texas, which. Greg Abbott seems hard right, but he has to cater to the hard right to protect himself from being displaced by a hard right candidate. So our best bet was that someone would come along and cannibalize Greg Abbott, politically from the hard right and win win in a primary him and get rid of him and
Mm-hmm.
be a super hard right person, and then we would have had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right, right.
as long as Abbott and a semi relatively moderate Republican is in power, I don't think any Democrat could unseat a sitting Republican governor in Texas. I don't for the next 12,
Well, yeah.
12 years probably. I'm guessing, but
Yeah. They
but
do.
I don't know. But I mean, anything's possible. There could be an issue or something happen, like the Uvalde thing.
Right.
And certainly have taken some heat for the way they acted, and that they started speaking before they knew everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it looks bad for them. The child foster care system in Texas is a disaster. It's a disaster. These children are in danger. And the state of Texas has it's been a boondoggle for them for years now, and the courts have kept throwing it back, telling them to do better. They can't seem to care about these children. But now they're fixing to create, with this new abortion law, they're fixing to create a lot more foster children into their system, and it's a bad system. So, politics aside, just man, we need to fix that. We're going to have a lot more children in that. The state's growing, abortion's illegal basically, so we're going to have a lot of foster children, and we need to take care of them. And that is just human decency, and I think people on both sides of the aisle could agree to that.
I was going to say humanity needs to start overtaking politics and corporations.
Let's just be human to each other. Let's be decent and treat each other.
Yeah, we're not in that era.
Yeah, and when you can treat people that badly and no one seems to care, there's no political consequences for it. Well, then that's just a sign that one party has too much power for too long, and it's become corrupt and lazy and ineffective because it doesn't have to serve the people anymore. It's serving itself. It's just it happens all the time. So
and money.
It's money, yeah. And I'm not saying one party's better than the other. I'm not a political issue. This is just this is nature. This is nature taking its course. This is what happens. It's things get bloated and corrupt, and they start rotting from the inside, and that's basically what's happening.
Yeah, no, I mean, if anybody says we're not in trouble, you really walk away from that conversation. But and you're right.
But this is the kind of stuff I talk about on Twitter. I don't talk about it like in my other Shinyribs platforms. If anybody doesn't like my politics, which I know many people don't, that's fine. I mean, we can agree, disagree. I'm not going to argue with you, because I'm always right. But you can just go.
I don't know if your wife's gonna. Does your wife say that?
But yeah, so I do that on Twitter. But my other social media, I just, it's all Shinyribs. My personal Facebook sometimes will get a little bit political, like mayonnaise or mustard. What's your preference? That kind of
ketchup. What is your Twitter handle for if anybody wants?
It's at Shinyribs, at Shinyribs. There's a blue check mark too. It's a verified.
Is it you?
It's verified me, yeah. So that's definitely, and that's me doing it. There's nobody doing it for me.
No.
Yeah.
You mean nobody hangs up that cool boom box? That was you?
That's all me, baby.
You don't have. Do you have much of a? You're pretty DIY, yeah.
Oh yeah, I try. I've always been. I'm an old punk rocker, DIY, and I'm, again, Texan, so I'm going to do it myself. My first thought is to do it myself. If I want it done right, I do it myself. Of course, I've learned as I've gotten older, I can't do everything myself. I need help, and I should ask for help when I need it. And I've gotten better at asking for help and letting people help me, like my tour manager, Choppy Waters.
That's a great name. That is.
And the band, the band all are great. They help in numerous ways, but musically especially, I can't do it all myself. I know it's not true.
Well, especially with what'd you say, 9 members?
Yeah, nine band members, and then we have 2 crew. So our front of house guy, Mark Craney, who's great. He's just as big a part of the band as anybody, and but he makes it sound good. He keeps it all sounding good for us. So, and then my tour manager, Choppy, who is a great help. I mean, he does everything else basically. He plans it all and arranges everything and deals with the clubs and the promoters and the hospitality and settles up at the end of the night, and it's a big job. And you know, the thing about being a tour manager, every tour manager will tell you this. I did a little tour managing during the Gorge. You know, we tour managed ourselves, and that's back when I thought I could do everything myself. But when you tour manage, like when something doesn't go right or something goes wrong, even if it's not your fault, like you tend to take on, you feel guilty for it. You feel like it is your fault, like even if it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard job, the tour manager. So hats off to all the tour managers of the world, especially my tour manager, Choppy Waters.
That's such a good name.
Yeah, it's a good name.
I when I couldn't sleep the other night, like I said, I'm proud to say I was one of the worst member. I was the worst member, not one of one of the best school bands, all black schools in Baltimore. And I was wondering why I insisted on trying to play jazz, and I think it was just because I wanted to get a jazz cat name, like Chompy Waters. Because if it happened that I had learned to play, Stephen Rubin can't be the name on the jazz album. That's no.
Well, I don't know, a contemporary jazz maybe.
Nah, no.
I mean, I don't know, trad jazz maybe not, but
I mean, Baltimore has Art Blakey. You know, we gotta get.
Yeah. Art Blakey. Yeah.
Speaking of your punk roots, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but one of our local residents and a good friend of mine did. The Angry Samoans. Do you remember them?
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, he lives here, and he might be listening. I'm gonna try to get him to.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
To come. He don't shake his behind too much, but we'll see what we can do on Thursday.
Yeah. No. Well, you know, there's a first time for everything, Greg.
Yeah, Greg, that's you, Turner. Greg Turner, by the way.
His name's Turner. So, what part of him is a Turner? You know.
That's right.
Let's see what part of you turns, man? Come on.
Turner. We could throw a turnip in if you don't turn. Now, one of the things I say to praise you is that you know, I don't want to be negative, but I certainly somebody I'm fine with. We call when we're watching live streams, if we need to use the restroom, we call it a buffet break. I'll leave it at that. And I'm sure you've heard the Prime story where the lady's asking for happy enchilada. He says, "Lady, you must have me confused with somebody else like who sings songs about food like Jimmy Buffett." But Kervin Shinyribs Russell, now you sing some good songs about food. You can sing about rutabaga.
That's true. That's true.
Did that take practice? Did that take practice? I mean, who can even say rutabaga?
No, well, rutabaga. You know, I got rutabaga from Carl Sandburg's Rutabaga Stories. I don't know if you've ever read those. He wrote a bunch of children's stories for his children when they were growing up, and he would read them these stories, and eventually he had a collection, and they published them in the Rutabaga Stories. I mean, they are some of the most trippy stories you're ever going to hear.
Yeah,
I love it. I used to have, I probably still do somewhere recordings of him reading them.
Oh, you should.
Voice,
yeah,
his voice is amazing.
Yeah.
If you find Carl Sandburg reading his Rutabaga Stories, I'd pick it up and find it.
I'm making me a note.
Yeah, you should play it on your show sometime if you can find it. I think there's some on YouTube, I think, but
yeah. Well, I had
a whole like cassette collection that I bought at a bookstore, like 4 cassettes of him reading poetry and his Rutabaga Stories. But yeah, I sing about food all the time, man. I love food. You know, I love food. It's I'm an emotional eater. I eat for pleasure and for happiness, and that goes back to my upbringing and and you know, my kids are that way. My whole family pretty much is that way. So, you know, that's why I'm a little Anyway, trying to lose some weight, but
yeah,
I love eating so much.
You and Stanley
I'll
are
sing
full
about it too. Anything I love, I sing about it. That's for sure.
That's good. That's good. What was I going to? I've read some Carl Sandburg poems. I'll sometimes do poetry on air, and yeah. And so far, you have brought up everything that I have in my notes without me getting there, and poetry was one of them because you were influenced and did you kind of start writing poetry as young or?
Oh yeah. You know, my mom read poetry books. She would read like pop poetry, like Rod McEwen and Leonard Nimoy, that kind of poetry, you know. But I liked it. I read it and I understood that what it was. I was like, oh, okay. Oh,
Mhm.
this is poetry. Yeah, I understood like what it was, and then you know, this is a funny thing too that takes me back to my childhood. Speaking of, is that it's a foreshadowing that I didn't realize till I had kids myself that this happened. But um, so I was telling my kids, I think it was my oldest son after after he started second grade. We were talking about his kindergarten and first grade teachers, and I was like, you'll never forget your kindergarten and your first grade teacher. You know, those are just formative teachers that I think most people remember. I don't remember all my teachers, but like those two teachers I remember. And so I'm, a guitar player, songwriter, and the two foremost guitar builders in America are Martin and Gibson. And so my kindergarten teacher was Miss Martin, and my first grade teacher was Miss Gibson. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I didn't realize that till much later. But Miss Gibson, my first grade teacher, I remember her handed back an assignment or something, and she leaned down next to me. She said, "Kevin, you know what? You are a writer. You're a writer." And I was like, "Wow, I'd never been anything before." Like, wow. Okay. She may have said that to every kid in the class, but I believed it.
No, I don't think she did. Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm a writer." So that I knew early on, about poetry and writing, and I think I had a natural gift for it at a young age, and it was always encouraged in my family, and my teachers had great teachers too through most of my schooling who encouraged that. The English teachers always loved me until I got to high school in Shreveport. I finished high school there, and I was a terrible student. Other than English, I was a terrible student.
No math. No, you're off the
no
hook.
math, no science. I was like, I'm not interested. Because I knew what I was going to do, Stephen. I said, I'm going to be a songwriter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write songs. That's all I already knew at a young age, so I didn't need school. I was like, man, I already got this figured out. So I was a little arrogant. It's true, but I didn't have enough credits to graduate. It was math. Like I never took algebra, and I think to graduate you had to have an algebra. But I was in Louisiana, and the English teachers loved me, and I don't know what they did, but they did something, and I graduated. So
good.
Yeah,
It probably involved root vegetables.
Yeah.
What they did probably involved root vegetables.
It probably did.
maybe a gummy bear. I went to UVA, and I took for the credits tried statistics, and I drew a picture for one of the questions. I was like, I don't know, and I got the thing back, and I saw a 70. I said, how could I have gotten a 70? It was a 70 out of 200. So I had to withdraw from that one.
Yeah, right. Good call.
You can't recover it. That's like 130 points below zero.
Take the picture with it. Maybe that's what you got the 70 points for the picture.
Probably would have been a zero. Yeah. Pavement is a band that I think you say you liked. They formed at UVA.
Oh, really? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. They were a couple years ahead of me. And what's funny is, I guess it kind of shows, but they didn't play instruments. They just, the whole sort of grungy thing was happening. And here I'll be negative again, I guess, or whatever, opinionated. I mentioned Chile. I leave America for a year to study in Chile, and end up having an internship with a music magazine down there. And I remembered something. Metaphysical Biscuit, by the way, is the implication of having a thought and, like in meditation, letting it go and it comes back. And you're going to see that I'm about to tie this back to an hour ago, roughly. No math. but they said Dave Matthews was the band that was growing in popularity. And I used to not even like that. I didn't have to pay the $5 to see them free at tracks. And then I'm in Chile, and they became world famous while I'm there.
Wow.
But anyway, that was part of what spurred Pavement. But also, this is the Metaphysical Biscuit is because I was bilingual. In Chile, I got to be the one that did the interviews So there was a 90-minute phone session with Stuart Copeland.
Oh, nice.
And who I remembered an older cousin, J.B. Brenner, giving away Police albums more than my brother. When I mentioned J.B. Brenner to Stuart, he said that the Police owe their career to J.B. He was an A&R man for their record.
Wow.
Yeah, and my distant cousin, whatever, Roanoke. The long line of Roanoke Jews, you know about them, right?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so I got the Beasties were there live. It was the Sabotage period, so there's the question, and they had just launched a Chilean alternate to MTV Latino, so it was videoed, and it was not 90 minutes. But anyway. I wouldn't have asked this question, but they had me ask something about creative influences, and they're the Beastie Boys. So they gave an appropriately not well thought out, or actually it was, but to a not well thought out question. Anyway, they said it was Gordon Lightfoot. That's what. And they start playing off each other, and so MCA takes the reins and says, "Actually, Gordon Lightfoot writes most of our songs."
Yeah.
And that
Gordo. I love Gordo.
Yeah. So that's the Beasties. They'll slap you around, but then they gave my brother, who happened to be visiting then, a free back all access pass. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Just for the folks who might be listening who are into this kind of stuff, I know you're not a tech head, but when you were learning and doing the late night TV album, anything that you use that you might share, gear wise?
Well, Logic Pro is the software I use, the recording software. I had to upgrade to a bigger computer. I've got a Mac Mini, it's...
No, you can't make...
Most powerful thing I could find, consumer grade. I'm using Apogee interfaces of various kinds over the years. Right now I have a Symphony interface, and I have like an array of Shure microphones and some other odd microphones that I use, but for the most part it's just me in here, with my instruments and getting the Logic Pro. The thing about Logic Pro is it has all those sounds in it, so it's easy to make loops, and I was just playing around with it, trying to learn it, and that's what I'm recording while I did it. That's my learn as you do. So that's what I was doing, and I kind of learned how to do what I wanted to do, and that's all I did really. I'm not like a great engineer or anything, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing exceptional about the gear I use. It's just I've got a lot of guitars and a lot of instruments. I can play pretty much anything with strings on it. MIDI keyboard or a MIDI surface of some kind to use with the Logic Pro. That was a big part of it. But it's easy. You just get a basic MIDI keyboard and plug it in, and it recognizes it, and you use it. And you can control that for any sound. That's what I was trying to tell people is you can, any sound you get, you can play it with the keyboard. They're like, a lot of people that don't do this, they don't understand how that works, but it's kind of like magic to me anyway. It's like, wow, this is awesome. And really it's like just a big musical playground that's in the box there. And a lot of people, that's how they make music these days. To me, it was a new way of making music that I'd never done before, but yeah, nothing really, special. I think it's a lot of like learning how to use a mic, how to get levels on a mic, and how to, learn about the different patterns of microphones and how they pick up things, and playing around with mic placement on stuff, and playing around with mic placement and things like that. Learning the ins and outs.
Do I owe you a ukulele now? Did it break?
No. Ukuleles, they're pretty tough. They're small, so they don't. I don't know. Guitars. Actually, I had a guitar fell on the stage last time I was at Santa Fe Plaza. It was a user error. It wasn't my error, but somebody else in the band played one of my guitars and then put it down and it fell over, and the neck broke right there, and I got it repaired. I mean, they were traumatized by it. I was like, hey, anything can be fixed. Don't worry about it.
Bleep happens, and
lots of good luthiers, and they'll just fix it right up.
Right, bleep happens, and the show must go on. Yeah.
Right. And it was a Gibson. Those Gibson necks are just real skinny, and they break pretty easily. But yeah, a uke I've never. Well, there was one uke. So I used to do this dance. I would put the ukulele on the floor, and I would jump up back and forth. I don't know. There's video of me doing it. I used to do it all the time during Song of Lime Juice and Despair live.
I love that song.
Yeah. There was one night we were playing a private party, and my back had been hurting, and I was just tired. You know, I was like you get real tired, and your legs are not a lot of energy. You know, I knew I shouldn't do that dance that night, but I tried it, and I stepped right on that ukulele and just completely crushed.
That didn't get repaired, huh?
No, that was not repairable. I kept it though for a while. Eventually, I auctioned it off, signed it, and auctioned it off.
Well, that's a good. I was thinking that's a better. I was thinking you could have pulled a Jimi Hendrix with it.
Yeah.
but auction's good. Auction's good.
Yeah. I was so mad at myself that night, but part of this party is they had a pinata of me. It was a Shinyribs pinata. And I was like, I was so mad at myself, I got a stick and I went and beat the crap out of myself.
All right, Kaevin, this was obviously not a premeditated question. I just in April 48, when I hit 50, knock on wood, can we smash a pinata of one of us?
I don't see why not.
It sounds fun to me. Yeah.
I don't know who made that or how
I know we can get those made here. This is New Mexico.
That's true.
I ain't worried about that side. But I think instead of cheap Mexican candy, can we fill it with barbecue? Hot sauce. Oh,
that
you know
would be
what?
Worth making a video of right there.
We'll do it. On our live. There you go. On our live stream last week, I had a Jamie Harris mystery bag, but they actually she picks what's in there, a handwritten card. She sent me her favorite hot sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? Do you remember what it is?
No, it's on my shelf. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Wow,
I hit it because I know it's going to be hot.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I have
a whole fridge full of hot sauce.
What are your favorites?
Probably my favorite right now is Old Poblano. It's made in Tucson, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did a taste test on one of my live streams for that. And man, it's hot. It's
hot.
Yeah, I love it. I don't eat it a lot. I mean, it's just you got to have the right hot sauce for the right thing. For my everyday hot sauce, I like, Tapatio or Cholula, something like that.
Valentina's,
yeah, those are my favorites.
Yeah, they don't burn you.
Yeah, they won't burn you. They got good flavor in it.
Yeah,
for eggs or whatever. But
a little Scotch bonnet, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it hotter. But I'm looking forward to coming to New Mexico because I love that red chili, baby.
Yeah, we owe you.
Everybody loves that green chili, but that red chili is.
You like the red? Not Christmas, just straight up red.
I mean, I'll do Christmas, but I just really love the red. I mean, green's fine, but the red, there's something about that deep. It's just so beautiful. It's so deep and red and dark and. That taste, I dream about it. I make it at home sometimes, But,
do you?
Yeah, but man, there's nothing like coming to New Mexico. That's some of the best food in the world.
Yeah, we're gonna get you the Uncle DT barbecue, and we're gonna get you some chili.
Yay!
Woo! And all you're gonna do is make sure that we got some derriere shaken.
That's all we gotta do.
Again, not to be arrogant, but I think I've helped get a few extra bodies.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
All the help we can get out there.
Well, I think I think you might have seen that one person did not know your music, and he does now, and he's coming. He lives in Las Vegas, New Mexico, too, and he's coming.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and
that's great, man. That's great. Yeah, spread the word. I mean, that's what it takes. Word of mouth still is the most effective way to get people interested. They'll listen to other people. You can do a million targeted ads, through social media, and those have some effectiveness, but it's not like their friend telling them, "This is great. You should check it out." It's the same impact. So.
Well, I will say what I've been saying, which is that I just find it hard to believe, particularly live, which I'll do live, it not to be unless there's some sort of horrible weather incident,
Right. Right.
for it not to be an enjoyable experience. Back to the feelgoodery and you know,
it definitely will be an enjoyable experience. If you want to have a good time, I mean, if you don't want to have a good time, that is your right.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to make you have a good time.
Yeah, stay home and read the news.
Shinyribs show, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have a good time, maybe it's not for you.
You know, the news is always on. That's not a good time, right?
That's never a good time.
Wait, so are you telling me that Mr. Feelgood, Kervin Shinyribs, can't even sometimes make the news feel good? with those ladies behind you, come on.
You know, there's an anchor on the local news here who does she does a TikTok. She dances the weather. She just does a dance.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do one of those with her at some point. We've been talking about it.
Oh, good. You should do that. And I think the next time that you have a political thing, maybe spice it up a little.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I should dance the politics.
I think Kiki Friedman.
Politics, yes.
Kiki Friedman tried that, but you're better.
Kiki
I don't know.
Everything.
He did everything. He's 3 times.
He's such a hoe.
He's still alive, huh?
He's awesome, man. That dude.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him in years. I don't know.
You must know him, right?
Yeah. Where he is? I've met him. Yeah, and we know each other.
And you played with Willie, or on a bill with Willie?
Yeah. He did some stuff with Willie. He was
you.
Oh, me. Oh, recently. Yeah. I played Willie's birthday. Yeah. That was the closest I think I've ever been to Willie. It was like on stage with him, singing along.
Did you get to talk to him, or just that?
No, I never talked to him. I think they were keeping him protected from possible exposure. So
sure. So you didn't get on the famous bus?
Yeah, I mean, it was on his property, you know. So there was no bus around, but I'm sure there's like secret tunnels and everything.
Bunkers with
maybe it was a jetpack thing. I don't
probably
know.
A jetpack to the bunker that has at least 100 years worth of gummies. Before it's legal here now, but in Colorado, the first shop over the border above Taos in a small town had Willie's weed back in the day.
Oh, Willie's Reserve, yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I've had that. That's been given to me a couple times. Yeah.
Kids were not endorsing one way or the other, but it's legal here now.
Yeah, right. So yeah. So yeah, that's been floating around. It should be legal in Texas. I mean, it's kind of crazy that it's not.
That's probably gonna take a while, huh?
Yeah, probably. I mean, all the states around us are either legal recreational or legal medical, you know, so
right. Is there not medical in Texas?
No, there's not medical. There's some like CBD stuff, you know, and some of that, but I mean, it's here, of course. It's just not legal. There's some. What is
Austin would not exist. I mean, cool.
Yeah, what is that? Some like, I can't remember the name of it. It's some other version of it that. Oh,
there's that Delta 8 kind of thing.
Delta 8, yeah, that's Delta 8, yeah. So that is legal, sort of.
They don't launch Delta 8. Yeah, that's not a CBD. I'm not sure what that does, but.
Yeah. So, but the Delta 8 thing is pretty. It seems to be legal, but I think eventually it'll be made illegal because it was just caught the old guard off guard.
Well, then I take it back. Anybody in Texas, particularly politicians listening, Delta 8 doesn't do anything. It's useless, right? It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I just know that it seems to be popular. So. Yeah.
No, well, I'm using reverse psychology on people who aren't listening.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It does, but I'm trying to say so they don't make it illegal. It's fine. As a matter of fact, it's really good for the oil industry.
It's good for the oil and gas industry. Yes. It's purely derived from oil and gas.
And it'll help their profit margin.
That's right. That's right.
I got a question for you, political, and that because you're bringing up someone else with Texas connections said this. You would one would think that they're well aware of climate change and all that. They just don't care because of their profits. But I have no reason to disbelieve the person, and I want to see what you think. They told me that some of them really don't realize what that does. Of the rancher types you were talking.
Oh. Well, it's hard to know. I haven't seen any recent polling about it, but yeah. I would venture to guess. I would think most ranchers understand that that the climate is changing. They may argue with you about the causes, but I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not something that is talked about much among certain people here. They don't really want to talk about it.
I would imagine,
because it's been so tainted by partisanship. That was the design. That was the strategy from the very beginning, is to like just label it, radical, left-wing, socialist, blah blah blah, whatever. All these trigger words, and these people are triggered by it. They are. Yeah. It works. It's a strategy. It's a deliberate strategy to manipulate people's psychology, and it works.
It works in this state. I have heard our governor, who is, a little bit maybe more liberal than Clintonian, the first Clinton. Right. But I've heard her called things from socialist, communist to Jew libtard. She's not Jewish.
Yeah.
And it works. It
works. I know, and it shouldn't work, but it does. And it's like, well, as long as that works, they're going to keep using that trick.
And I guess I'm a shining example of it.
They know what they're doing.
They know, right? Well, the people that,
truth. And they are deliberately avoiding the truth and trying to create propaganda to keep laws from changing, because they don't. It'll hurt their bottom line. It'll hurt their pocketbook, and
of course,
it'll cost everybody a lot more money to mitigate all this. So, but before long, it'll be too late. It's just going to be too late.
A lot of cultures, rightfully, and not just cultures, sexual orientation. I have a friend who's got an outfit called Crip Video Productions for All Disabled. So the joke I'm getting at is I don't know what a libtard is, and I'm not religious, but maybe it's time to find a way to turn Jew libtard into to turn it around and to take the power out of it.
Right. You could do that. Yeah. Start using it on yourself. Yeah, that's a good strategy.
And, I'm not very political. I'm not voting next week or whatever. And I'm registered as a Democrat. Maybe I can register as a libtard.
You could. Start a third party. The libtard party.
The libtard.
Ain't no party like a libtard party.
Oh!
The libtard party don't start.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
The Libtard Party Song by Shinyribs.
Libtard Party Song.
Now, one thing in my notes, I had somebody ask, one of your beautiful songs, the Po People Store. Stephen Rommel was wondering, was a DJ on the station and is a DJ, wicka, and a good friend and a performer. Anyway, is that about maybe like a Big Lots or a Dollar General, your song Po People Store?
Yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind. It was like just cutout stores, those Dollar Generals. Yeah. Kind of, or Big Lots. Yeah. That's what to me. That's Po People Store. But a thrift store works too. But and it could be interchangeable. But in my mind, I was going to start my own chain of cutout stores, and I was going to call it Po People Stores. And I was like, okay, I'll write the jingle first. So that's the jingle for it.
There you go.
Yeah, there was a thrift store in Fort Worth that opened. They asked if they could use the name, and I was like, sure. And they're called the Po People Store.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, kind of cool. I've never been. I need to go visit them sometime. But yeah, that was my thinking. That what that was is my own version of one of those stores.
I'm going to give you a quick tour. That's the front. I feel like Samuel Jackson and Do the Right Thing now because we're on the street. And then just there to the right, that's actually a thrift store right on the other side of this wall here. And then I brought some of my toys. And oh, you know what I saw on the right outside is a Vader helmet on the thing that's got the thrift store's doors open.
Weird.
You recognize that?
Oliver's Army.
Yeah, I thought you might like that. So this is where KMRD, that's it pretty much. It's going to be for the summer.
KMRD. Madrid, New Mexico.
We're actually about a few minutes away from doing that again. And then let me see. I thank you for all your time. Let me know when you got to go.
Sure. Maybe top of the hour I'll split. So
okay, fair enough. Let's see. I did have your poets. I know Neruda. Speaking of Chile, is a poet you like, yeah?
Yes, yeah, sure.
And I've read his stuff in both languages. And anybody going? Have you been to South America?
I never have.
When you get to Chile, you go see his homes. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering, William Blake. Any? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he's my favorite of a darker, other than because I'm from Baltimore. I went to UVA. I gotta like Poe.
Oh, you got like the Poe People Store.
The Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe People Store.
Edgar Allan Poe People Store. I mean, you know.
Yeah, you got like the Poe.
He and my uncle didn't graduate from UVA. I somehow did. And here's one you'll probably like. Is I recall going to a bar mitzvah party at the mausoleum. I think that's what it's called, right? Where his you know, did you know the story of every year in Baltimore somebody would put his favorite booze on his thing outside?
Oh yeah, sure.
And they never found out who it was. That it stopped. That person died. Wow. But the bar mitzvah party was at that mausoleum.
Oh wow.
With the Poe ashes. So
they don't do that anymore?
It stopped because that person probably passed away. It was one person.
Wow.
They never knew who it was. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Somebody would keep the tradition up, you know?
It probably got dangerous.
Yeah, maybe.
Baltimore is not the safest city in the world.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Have you played there? You must have.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I played Baltimore a couple times. Or near there, you know, I mean.
Merriweather or...
Yeah, and across the way at the Ram's Head in Maryland.
Yeah. Annapolis.
Yeah, there's some suburb outside of Baltimore we played.
Mm-hmm.
Where my sound engineer, Mark Craney, he's from that area. So
Columbia?
I can't remember the name of that.
That's all right.
It was, yeah. It was the Gorge. It was some years ago. So.
Okay. I'm actually going to be there. I'm going to my 30th high school reunion.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
When is that?
The 18th. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be crazy. I wanted to visit my family, you know, in Thanksgiving. And then a friend invited me and I was like, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, sure. See what happens.
See what happens. We got to see James Brown in Baltimore and he still was doing a 4-hour show then.
Yeah.
But obviously he needed a little more breaks. But nobody could possibly count how many times, of course, he said popcorn and Baltimore and told us about how he loves Baltimore. He's got cousins in Baltimore. And actually, you can, after this will be a question, a lead in. I guess the first things I saw were REM and Billy Joel, both who make great albums. Neither were very good live.
No, really.
That I remember. I just remember thinking, you know, having heard so much about this live music rock thing, and Michael Stipe was forgetting words and whatever. And then my parents took me, thankfully didn't have the same seats as us, 9th grade, to what was the first and perhaps last rock show at the Baltimore Meyerhoff Symphony Hall, Lou Reed with the New York tour.
Wow.
And then I got it. Then I was bit. It was all over. So can you remember some of the firsts you saw?
Oh, gosh, yeah. The first show I ever was taken to, I was 8 years old, the Lake Charles Convention Center. My folks took me to see Elvis Presley.
I know him.
That blew my mind.
I bet it would.
Of
Yeah.
course it would. Then I remember, seeing Molly Hatchet and Charlie Daniels at Astro World in Houston, and
Hmm.
gosh, who else? I mean, there weren't a lot of cool. Like when I got into like really cool bands in the '80s, like they never came to Shreveport, and it was hard to find out when they were touring because they were a bunch of indie bands, right? I didn't know how do you get that information? You had to be on their
Right.
mailing list, and how do you get on the mailing list? I
Yeah.
didn't know. So
Never saw
there were some bands I didn't see, like that.
never
But
never saw Nirvana.
no, I wasn't really into Nirvana, honestly.
Yeah.
By the time they came around, like the '80s, that's kind of when I was into those bands like Minutemen, Meat Puppets, and
Hmm. Hmm.
Whitesmith, Husker Du. Those were my bands, and then to me, it's like all those bands and all those indies got bought up by the majors, and I was disenchanted that
Yeah.
happened. I was really disappointed in those bands for at the time. I was understandably a little naive, but still,
Right.
I felt like there was something really significant happening in music at that point, and I was really into it. And I that's what the kind of music I wanted to make: DIY,
Yeah.
indie. Yeah, we don't need the majors. We don't want corporate crap.
Right.
That was my position. Pretty much still is, um, but all the indies got bought up, and all those bands made terrible records with these majors, and
Hmm.
and then kind of after that, I sort of tuned out, and I started
Sure.
listening to old field recordings and old country music, and that's when I disappeared into the Carter family hole, like, and I just ignored
Yeah.
popular culture altogether.
I'm pretty sure, especially with that there is no way to count the number of things that I feel like you and I have in common. And that's one
Yeah,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, and my friends were gaga about Nirvana, and
I did love Nirvana, but that
yeah,
was him.
I was like, I didn't like whatever. I'm just not interested because they were like, a big label, and it was on
Well, if you
MTV.
didn't catch him, if you, yeah, if I had Bleach
I didn't
before,
trust it. I didn't
yeah,
trust it.
yeah,
But
and
later
and
on, I listened to it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
yeah, and
you know,
and Cobain feels the
yeah,
same way we do. He was just as
yeah, right,
disappointed. That's
right,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So you can imagine winding up in that position. You're like, oh god, what did
It
I
was
do?
awful. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't, I'm sad that he decided to take his life. But jeez,
yeah.
uh, that's terrible. But yeah. So, but I mean, I was I just kind of disappeared from popular music at that point, and just contemporary music. I just swore it
Mm,
off and went
yeah.
into my little bubble, and I didn't have a TV. I didn't have anything, and I just lived my 20s basically in my own little world in Austin here, and it was great.
I I do have a question that round, but I just got to say because it's 5 o'clock. This is 96.9 FM, KMRD, LP, Madrid, New Mexico, and you're catching the tail end of a chat with Kervin Shinyribs Russell and DJ Jules here on Metaphysical Biscuit. What I wanted to ask you was in that realm of because you and also to when you were telling people about seeing the show and feel goodery is they'll probably get a mix of your original music and covers is what I'm getting at, right? You
Oh
do a
yeah,
lot,
oh yeah, yeah.
but
No, we mix it up a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
um, you'll get a lot of our original stuff, but then even sometimes within an original song, I might break into a bit of a song you might know. So
to make sure the band's
uh,
awake, right?
yeah, just to make sure everybody's paying attention, and it's fun to do. I've always
Yeah,
liked to do that. I mean, that's my formative education is in the bars, and I'm a bar band guy, and that's what you learn to do that in playing in bars, when you're young. Just give the people what they want, but make it interesting at least.
well, you hit them with a cover, and then you kind of got their hearts, and you hit
Yeah,
them with your
exactly.
song.
And then you hit them with one of your songs, and sometimes it works. There was one time in South Carolina, it was this weird bar, and we
Yeah,
were
that's
playing, and there was a ton of people there. I mean, it was like a huge crowd, but they ignored us. Like they ignored us. They were just talking. There's a bunch of college kids. I think it was Columbia, South Carolina,
it.
and then during the break, they started playing music, and they all started dancing to the radio or whatever the record they were playing, and they played Hank Williams Jr. Family Tradition. And we had a song, the Gorge had a song called Meat Off the Bone. And it's pretty much Family Tradition. It's pretty much exactly the same musically. same sort of country loping groove, and I'm singing it with that sort of drawl, and so I was like, well, all right, they're on the dance floor dancing to this, so I said, let's open the next set with Meat Off the Bone, and that'll keep them on the dance floor. Nope.
No.
They walked off. I was like, even though we were playing exactly the same music, they, ultimately they just nope.
No.
They just went back to their corners and.
Well, in its own way, Texas is its own thing, and then Alabama and South Carolina are each their own planets. They're
Oh yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's just
Yeah.
funny, But I don't know what we were talking about, but yeah,
That's okay.
we'll do all kind of stuff. And
I think we're talking about gummy bears. No, no, but I was asking you about. What I was going to ask you a little further was you mentioned the one cover, the female dog, but I played your awesome version with your cute little tank, and that another thing we have in common is props of Staying Alive. I've played that,
Uh-huh.
but you do some, one thing I'll add about when people ask what do I play on the show, it's larger to say what I don't play, which is anything very current, pop, and auto-tuned.
Right.
Yeah. But you've done some covers that are kind of perhaps unlikely choices, is what I was getting at.
Oh sure, I love to do that. I mean, it's going back to Gin and Juice days. Find an unlikely cover that you can make your own. To me, that's a lot of fun to do that. It's really good fun, and to share that with people is a really joyful experience because people get it. They're like, oh wow,
Right.
yeah. So I love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, correct me if I'm.
Even like obvious covers, like just doing them in a way that no one thought about doing, like Driving My Life Away, that Eddie Rabbitt song from the 80s. We cover that, but it's real slow, mournful, because the lyrics are actually pretty dismal if you read them. So it's more of an honest interpretation of that song that we're doing.
Sounds like a Townes Van Zandt song.
People love it. Yeah, it is kind of like a Townes Van Zandt song.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you about. So in the live stream, and I quote people, I tell this story all the time. I was pretty much wetting my Star Wars kitty cat drawers when the Townes Van Zandt thing you were just part of. Sorry, I was just trying to be colorful because you're colorful. Trying to keep up. The one you were just the live stream you just participated in, which I think was through Betty Sue and Jamie Harris, and you did two girls, and then you go, and this is a live stream, listeners, that's hosted, as I've said, Butch Hancock, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, and people that knew and played with Townes. And what do you remember what you asked?
I asked them what that song was about.
And do you remember the answers?
They didn't know. They're like, nobody knows what that. Nobody. Like, we have no idea what that song's about.
There were words we can't say. And yes, I just thought, I was like, somebody's going to at least pretend to know. And
yeah. I've never known what that song's about. I love that song.
It's not about two girls, like in that way.
No, there's something like supernatural about it, or I don't know if it's metaphor for something else,
Yeah. Did you pick that, or did they ask you to do that?
No, I picked that. The Gorge used to do that all the time, and I've known that song for years. It's one of my favorite Town songs.
Yeah, that one and Buckskin Stallion.
Yeah.
Which he does tell you is about both a horse and a woman.
Right. I don't know if Townes ever said what Two Girls is about, but
I've never heard it. Yeah.
What were his parakeets' name?
Susie, who's listening, knows, but I don't.
Lupin Lil.
Right. Lupin Lil. And
maybe it's about Lupin Lil.
Maybe it is. When I sing in spite of ours, wrong one. When I sing If I Needed You, I say Stella and Stan, my cats. Lupin Lil, sure.
Right.
and his dog was I had it, not Jemima. Anyway, yeah. But I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you? It seems like maybe you've done more the unlikely covers than have you ever covered Hayes or Prine? Some, but that doesn't seem like what you do as much as the unlikely ones.
What was the question again?
It seems like when you do covers, you tend to do ones that are maybe more pop songs. You're staying alive more than what people might think you would do.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to do something that's too obvious. Or, I mean, I'll do a Tom Waits song or something every now and then. I love Tom Waits.
Sure.
But it's sort of like, well, it's not much of a stretch, for me. It's like it's playing a great song, and I'm not gonna like Tom Waits songs. I'm not going to change those. To me, they're so good. They're already great, and there's not much I can do to improve them. Right? I don't. So, but like Staying Alive, obviously that could use some improvement.
I loved your version. I've never liked that other stuff.
That works, So it makes more sense, and there's something about doing that where it frees people's imagination from, like, they're more willing to go there with you, right?
And yeah.
So
and it would be great to hear you do a song like Willin' or Prine or Haze, but that's too obvious. I guess I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some of those. That's largely where I'll put a lot of that in medleys and shows. That's
right. That makes sense.
Bits of songs like that.
Like the band, when you go into the band.
Yeah, or something like that. So I'm not generally, like, people send me all the time. They're like, oh, you ought to do this Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I was like, yeah, it's awesome. But I mean, we do it exactly the way he does it. I'm not going to change it, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, I'd like, because even on Mad Dogs and Englishmen, like, they were changing other classic songs to fit their style. And that's what I like to do as well. Like, I want to bring something in and radically change it into something new,
Mm-hmm.
That's always what I'm going to get off on. And if I'm going to do covers, like, I've secretly kind of want to be like in a country cover band where we just do faithful covers of like 70s and 80s country songs.
Well,
that would be cool to me, but and maybe one day I will be, but
or at least an album.
But for the most part, I never wanted to be in a cover band, like a traditional cover band that you play at faithful covers of Motown greats or whatever. That sounds really boring to me.
Well, I'd love to hear Shinyribs take on Outlaw and all that stuff. That would be.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I think I'm gonna make a country record next. It
worked for Sturgill.
Yeah, I'd like to make a straight country record. I've got this great steel player, Marty, now, and while he's around, that would be the thing.
I was literally about to say while he's around.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he's so great. I mean,
yeah.
He might move on and playing with somebody else, at any time that he wants, really. So, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of great musicians in my band, but the thing about having great musicians is they could be, plucked away by some other band, So
yeah.
So yeah, you got to make the most of the personnel while you got them, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. The band's better than ever. It's really incredible. So really excited about coming to Santa Fe and showing the people what we got.
All right.
Red chili.
And red chili and some barbecue, some Uncle Dickie barbecue.
Shaking our booties and hitting that barbecue pinata.
Oh yeah, it's on. Now let's see if they can get one that's half of each of us. That'll be fun. All right, one more thing on my notes is I heard you saying somewhere, I don't know what I wrote, but something about, you said that the most important things, two of the best things in life, pizza and books.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had a piece of pizza on a book when I heard you say that.
Yeah, I've had pizzas that tasted like books, and that's not good. But
no, that's a crime right there.
That's a bad pizza.
That's no good.
But a book that tastes like pizza itself is pretty cool.
That's cool. Or smells like.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think the only thing you can do if your pizza tastes like a book is get that really hot sauce out. That's
right.
I think that's why Jamie sent me that, for a bad pizza book. All right, Mr. Shiny Kevin. Thank you. The shiniest man in showbiz, right?
That's right.
All right. If you can hang on one sec, I'm gonna hit play on a song and say bye to you. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you want to hit him with a word or something while I'm doing this.
You're listening to 96.9 FM KMRD LP, Madrid, New Mexico. Shiny, 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 rib, 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 rib. New Mexico's best rock.
Something. I don't know. Rock. Sorry, that took me longer than should have. Okay, I'm gonna sign up. Well, you can say goodbye to him.
You play rock.
Oh yes.
Bye, everybody.
Well, you know what I love is the Charlie Brown. Well, are you ready to rock? All right, I'm gonna hit him with some David Tom and say goodbye to you off air.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Sorry. All right. You there?
I'm there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. It was fun.
It was fun. I didn't doubt it, but I didn't want to be, rest on my laurels. So what time is the thing Thursday? Evening?
Oh, yeah. I think it's like a 7 o'clock kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think Felix and them play it like at 7-ish.
Okay. That's usually what they do as it's getting cooling off.
Yeah.
What time do you can let me know what time you want the barbecue. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, I'll be in touch with you. I'm not sure when we're gonna get in there. Are
you just coming for the day and leaving that night, or?
No, we are. I think we're in Amarillo the day before. Not playing. We're just gonna stop there the night before.
Well, that's why Amarillo exists. Stop.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and then we go up to Pagosa the next day. So.
Okay. Well, that's not too far.
We got a couple of Denver. We're going Denver, then Pagosa, then Palisades, and then back to Pagosa. So we're gonna be in Colorado for 4 or 5 days after that.
I want to make sure I'm ready to hit the next one.
So I think we're rolling in pretty early at Santa Fe. So I don't know. You could maybe bring it earlier in the day when we get there.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right. I'll let you go. Thanks a lot.
All right, see you, man.
Bye-bye. Take care. That was wonderful. I really appreciate it. Means a lot. All right.